I wanted to say condolences to the family of Jim Anderson, my old science teacher at Lindsay High.
Yeah.
Passed away over the weekend at age 82, I noticed. And, he was there for, it says here in his obituary, 22 years, which is a long time at one place for any job, I guess. He was later the principal as well. That was long after I departed. But he was the science teacher for most of my high school years there, I guess. And I remember when he came there, he had the look of somebody who was all business, and it was going to be his way or the highway. And he was kind of one of those gruff kind of exterior character guys where he would kind of squint his eyes and look at you, and you knew he meant business, buddy, and you better not mess with this dude. Right. There were teachers you could mess with. You could tell right away this was not going to be one of them. But the funny thing about him is he certainly had, as a lot of people we know in life, that exterior. But the inside of him was a very, very sweet and kind man. Mm-hmm. And I had him for several classes, and he was not a particularly difficult teacher. He was a very good teacher. He actually taught you something, and he was very fair. Certainly wasn't an easy teacher, if you will, but it was all very reasonable as far as what he required of you and expected of you. And I really enjoyed his classes. And it was one of the first times in high school for me, and I've mentioned him before. Right. But it was one of the first times in high school for me where I realized, not all these teachers are against you. Because sometimes you as a kid, you kind of think that they're just against me. All they're doing is trying to make my life miserable, right? Right. That's what we think when we're a kid. And then I think the older we get, the smarter we are on that subject, because we start realizing most of them at least are actually trying to teach you something here. And if you'd listen, you might learn something.
Yeah, we as students, as kiddos, a lot of times are our own worst enemies
absolutely.
In that situation. Yeah.
And I think for me, he was that guy that finally made me realize they're not all against you, Steve, and if you'd listen, you might learn something. And I did.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get something out of it.
Yeah, you're supposed to get something out of it. And if you change your thinking, most times you do. Well, he was the guy that kind of made me start thinking that way. And at the end of my time there, we had graduation. He was the class sponsor for my particular class. So he was our senior class sponsor. And when we got ready to go over for graduation and everything, we did it in the science lab in his classroom, right? Yep. Well, when we were done and it's go back to the classroom and hand in the cap and gown and going about your business, you're now graduating. It's officially over. You're literally walking out of there for the last time. Mm-hmm. I distinctively remember seeing him standing at the door, and he still had that dry look on his face. But I walked up to him and I said, Mr. Anderson, there's something I want to say to you before I leave here for the last time. And he looked up at me with that look like he thought I was going to tell him off or something like that. And he had that squinted eye look at me, and he was looking at me, and he's like, yeah, what's that? And he said it in just that tone. So I could tell that's what he thought I was about to do.
Yeah.
But he definitely did not read the situation. I proceeded then to tell him, I said, I just wanted to let you know before I leave for the last time that I really enjoyed your class, and I think you're a great teacher. And he was literally just stunned.
Flabbergasted.
Just stood there for a moment, and his tongue wasn't necessarily hanging out, but his mouth was open, and he literally did not know what to say for a moment or two, and there was a really awkward moment. And there were other people standing around me at the time, and I thought, you know what? I don't care what anybody thinks. This is what I think, and before I leave here, I want him to know it. Because I might not ever see the guy again.
Right.
And I said it to him, and he finally, well, Steve, I don't know what to say. No one's ever said that to me before. And I was just shocked that nobody in his entire career, a student, had told him that. But I did, and he appreciated it. And I can be assured of that because he shook my hand, patted me on the back, and I walked out of there. Yeah. I only saw him one time casually after that. Never did again. And the weird thing is I thought about him not too long ago, and I thought, I would like to say hello to him if he's around or write him a letter or something like that. And I never could find out where he was. And it just saddens me to know that opportunity is now gone. And I've said this before, if there's people in your life that have made a difference, even just small differences in your life, you need to let them know that. And if you never did, it's never too late to do that, because people are appreciative of that. They will respect that. And he was one of those guys. I'm glad I said it to him then, but I wish I had come back and been able to do it again. Now that opportunity's lost, but at least if he's up there listening somewhere, he's hearing it.